Joining me on today's show is a man who's been in the personal and business development arena for over 28 years, and he's also one of Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad advisors. It's Blair Singer.
Hi, Natalie.
Thank you for joining me. Now, can you give our viewers a bit of a background about who you are and your story and how you got to where you are at the moment?
Many years ago, I had gone through a painful divorce, had a business that wasn't doing so well, and a friend of mine recommended that I go do a personal development program. I told him he was crazy. But what happened was, in the middle of that program, I realized that the problem with my business and my prior marriage and everything else was me. So I began this quest. I said, wow, if in fact the results of my life are a result of something going on up here, I just became a kamikaze about going after whatever I could to clear up the blocks and obstacles. So as a sales rep, and then having my own business in the trucking business, and building it and crashing it and building it again, and then ultimately working with Fortune 500 companies in about 15 different countries over the last probably 15 years, taking this formula of personal development, business development into them, getting in a very unconventional way, getting very high impact results in a very short period of time, particularly in the area of sales. So that's kind of how I got here.
I think you just mentioned there about you recognizing that you had a problem that you needed to deal with.
Right.
I think a lot of people, they are either blind to that and think, oh no, it's the other person, it's somebody else that needs to change, and they don't recognize that it's themselves.
Natalie, it's so well put. I mean, because that is critical. If people could just get that one point, that any time you're externalizing the problem, and certainly there are external circumstances, but if you give the weight of whatever your current limitation is to something external, that's the warning sign, that's the red flag to stop. Something over here creates that out there, and the minute you get control of that, first thing happens, your life settles down quite a bit. And you begin to at least feel like you're in control of your life, which is half the game.
But it's not easy, is it?
It's not easy, because as you get bigger, as you become more capable of dealing with more things, you're faced with bigger challenges. It's kind of like the universe says, oh, so you think you figured that out, did you? Well, watch this. We're going to send you this one. See if you can handle that one. So the personal development journey just never ends.
Yeah. And you help people in this area, don't you? That's a big area that
That's right.
You step in and you get people to see the problems and the issues, and you help to train them. What can you give us a little bit more information about what it is that you...
Well, yeah, and particularly in a business environment. So I get the big satisfaction of going in there and saying, look, we work on your little voice, that little voice between your ears that's the big demon, and some good business development skills, and in a very short period of time create great impact. And the reason for it is not even so much for the money that they make, is to get the person or the company to believe in themselves, because that's the big issue. Once you believe, once you say, wow, I really did that, then you can recreate it again and again, and the size of your game gets much, much bigger.
Yeah. And how important is it for people to have somebody like yourself, or some kind of mentor or coach or trainer?
There's not a major league athlete, wealthy individual, business person that doesn't have a series of coaches. You need to have somebody that can be objective with you, tell you the truth, and drive you. It's not just giving you advice, but you also need somebody that is willing to tell you the brutal truth and to push you gently but firmly in the right direction.
Yeah. So could you tell us a little bit about your Little Voice Mastery Mentoring Program? That sounds
sure.
Really exciting.
It's magical. Most people, it's a one-on-one over 6 weeks, 6 sessions, where most people make more money in 6 weeks than they do in 6 months. Why? Because it's systematically designed not only to set a goal and hold you accountable, but what also happens is a series of questions and processes developed by my personal development gurus and business gurus to systematically pluck the issues that come up for people around money, sales, income, team, business, partnership, authenticity, confidence, procrastination, those things. Because my experience, sales is pretty simple. It's all the other stuff I just mentioned that's the problem. So once we get that pulled out, the money just flows in.
And what are the issues that you face that you kind of find are the most familiar in, say, money or something? Is there any specific problem that just keeps coming back?
The universal problem is procrastination, right? Everybody knows what to do, they just don't do it. By letting the trivia of your life get in the way, it actually becomes more important than you. So you end up devaluing yourself. So rather than writing the book that you said you were going to write, after a while your little voice is going, well, who's going to want to listen to me anyway? So that's the first one to go after, is procrastination, how to get self-gratitude, self-value back, and then all the misnomers around sales, income, and money. Because when people get really screwed up on those kinds of things, we get that out of the way. People say, I'm not a salesperson. Well, once they realize they are and they're really good.
Absolutely, I totally agree with what you're saying, because I know myself, I've battled with that in so many different areas, and then you kind of beat yourself up a little bit.
But see, then that's another little voice.
Yeah.
The little voice that beats you up. See, you weren't worthy, you didn't do it, you could have done it, and that's not good either. So again, in the book that I wrote that goes with the little voice mentoring process, is we talk about how to handle those things. There's 21 techniques. 21 is very specific techniques. So that thing, like when you start to beat yourself up, what to say to yourself, when something goes wrong, how to handle it so you don't globalize it and universalize it, that kind of thing. So, and the good news is people are very resilient. You reprogram very, very quickly. Bad news took you however many years you are to get here. Good news is you can change it in minutes.
Yeah. And you spend quite a bit of time at events, and you go out and you speak to a wide audience. That must be, do you enjoy that?
Oh, yes.
Is that good fun?
I love it. I mean, it's not all of what I do. I mean, I do a lot of the work that I do is with companies and entrepreneurs, and really going into their work and into their businesses and making the magic happen there. But I love doing the public programs. I mean, obviously it's great exposure, but it's good because there's one thing in common with all the people in the room. Everybody believes there's a bigger, better person inside.
So for our audience to find out some more information about you, where do they need to go? Is there a website that they can go on to?
Sure. Very simply, you go to blairsinger.com. And there's a lot of great free information there. There's a free diagnostic there. As a matter of fact, you can find out if your little voice is helping you or shooting you in the foot. So that's really a fun one to do. And you go to salespartnersworldwide.com, which is our global franchise of the folks that I've trained in a lot of these processes that can help small businesses all over the world.
Fantastic. That's great. So blairsinger.com, don't forget to check out that website. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Natalie.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.